As veterans, we struggle to fit in. Taught to never let feelings win. Lost in a world full of fear and pain. We all have hung our heads in shame. When we look up, we see hands reaching out. There is so much support about. It comes from above and others around. Please take a hand and rise from the ground. Stand up and fight for your life. Walk away from negativity. Don't give in to strife. Show up for yourself. Find your voice. Keep moving forward. You have a choice. Give compassion for the child inside. Healing pain, let hope reside. Lost you will no longer be. Then you can help set others free. Now speak up and with us share the tools that make pain easy to bear. Advocate for others to lighten their load. Use your voice and join our show. On Coffee Talk with Brian and Marie, we heal out loud, PTSD to advocacy.
All right. What's going on, friends and family? Thank you guys so much for joining us on another great show of Coffee Talk with Brian and Marie. How are we doing today, Marie?
Hello, I am doing okay. I'm a little bit tired and I'm a little bit sad because, our guest wasn't available today, but it's okay because we're going to interview him in a couple of days and that'll be wonderful.
And I'll tell you what, you guys are in for one hell of a treat with that guest. You will enjoy that show for sure.
EJ Snyder.
Yeah, by the time you guys watched this, you would probably, hopefully, already watched his episode. Hopefully, he comes on. If not, he'll be right after this one. Yeah, looking forward to that, dude. Yeah, because if you ever get lost in the woods, or if you were on a deserted island, you would want to be with that dude for sure.
And for those of you who have been living on a rock, EJ Snyder is one of the most amazing survival experts. He's been on Naked and Afraid, he's been on Survivor, he's done all sorts of stuff. And he's just really awesome. And he's a huge veteran advocate, veteran himself, and it's going to be wonderful to have him on the show.
Yeah. So nevertheless, either you're watching this before his episode, or you're watching this and then you haven't seen it, go back and go watch the episode with EJ Snyder. You're not going to want to miss it. I promise you that. But all right, today's just going to be another one of those great days where you're blessed with Marie and I's presence. And before we get the show on the road, we're going to give some veterans, another veteran organization, some love. This one, you guys, if you guys have been following the show for some time now, this organization is they've been a part of this show plenty of times. You've probably seen the ads multiple times on here, but Hero Stock this year is going to be August 15th, 2026. It looks like it's going to be a one-day event, and it's going to be quite the show. It's going to be a country music festival and resource fair. So far, it looks like they got Black Hawk going. They have the Trainer Band, Briella Steiner, and the Wicked Ones, Shelby K, and the High Class Hillbillies. And there's going to be 75 plus vendors. And all these vendors are very huge advocates and supporters of veterans. So this is an amazing place. So I myself made my way out to this event 2 years in a row. They were both in Ashland, Nebraska. So I took myself all the way from California to Ashland, Nebraska to go check out an amazing event. And I got to network with so many other great veteran organizations, veteran podcasters, musicians, authors. Gosh, it was just amazing event. And it's something that if you can make your way out there, it's definitely something you're going to want to do. It is free to all veterans and first responders, and it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of great fun. They have usually a fly-in, and the performers, they all have either served their country at some point in time or are family members of someone who has served. But
So where is it going to be this year?
This is in Ashland, Nebraska, at the Country
Okay.
Drive Golf Course. And right there, if you can see on the screen that little QR code, go ahead and scan that, and you can go check it out. Or you can also go to the website, which is www.herostock.org, and go check it out. They got a little ticker up there. There's 116 days, 2 hours, 1 minute, and 43 seconds left before the actual event kicks off. And like I said, it is an amazing time, and it is just a great way to network with your friends. That, like I said, everybody there is very like-minded, and just a great time. I really enjoyed myself the 2 years I was able to go, and unfortunately the third year just wasn't able to make it out there just due to life and everything else. And I'm hoping, I don't know if I'll be able to make it out this year. Last year, that's right. The reason why I didn't make it out last year was it was on my wife's and I 10-year anniversary. So that was like kind of hard to get her to go on that one. But all right.
Maybe we can try to meet up together.
Yeah.
And go like promote and do like a live episode or something.
Yeah, no, trust me, it is a great time. It is worth it, Marie. It is I know a lot of people that have gone and they're making their way out there to keep going. And I really am bummed that I missed the third year in a row, but it was a great time. So if you guys also, like I said, if you guys have it in your heart to go donate to their cause, go over there and donate. It will help them. And I tell you, they put on an amazing event. They really do. From the time you walk in, it is very well set up, to the way that it just runs so smoothly, and the performance is all amazing. The sound is great. The lighting, it's just they put on a great event. I tell you that much. All right, guys. So now we're going to go ahead and do what we do next, and we're going to give the floor to Marie and let her do one of her amazing poems. And is my sound doing better? All right, cool. All right, I'm going to go ahead and disappear and let you go.
Hey guys. So today we're going to do a throwback poem. I had the opportunity to be on another podcast. It's called This Sober Vet podcast. And Joe Urich was actually on our show a few weeks back. So by the time you're watching this, you will be able to go back and check out his show. So this Sober Vet, it was just a really amazing opportunity to kind of share my story about my sobriety and how I got to where I'm at today. And what was really awesome is in that podcast, I had the opportunity to reflect on how I got my voice in my writing. And when I first started writing was in high school, and my teacher was Greg Park. Shout out to him over at Timpanogos High School. He's still there. He is just an amazing, amazing teacher. I've talked about him before, but I just want to do this like special shout out to him. That man gave me a voice when I didn't have one. When I was going through some really, really difficult times. It was right after I had been raped. I was just in the beginning of my addictions, and he taught me to write. And he was my creative writing teacher as well as my sci-fi teacher. And he basically just told me, he's like, I don't care what you write, just write. And it gave me the freedom to explore and to figure out what I what I needed to say and how I needed to say it. And I didn't even know that I needed this voice. And so on the podcast, which was released yesterday as I'm recording, but it'll be a few weeks ago, when you watch this, um, I was basically talking about when I got sober and I started writing again, I was able to reflect back on the things that he taught me. And it just anyways, he just is an amazing man that gave me my voice when I needed it. And when I got sober, I was able to God used that seed to open up my writing. So anyways, um as I'm reflecting on this, I want to do a poem that I wrote back in high school. And if you check out my YouTube channel, I recorded this one and I did 7 days in a row of some of my old poems. But anyways, so I wanted to read this one and it's called This Life Is Mine and I wrote it back in, 2005, 2006 time frame. And it's in this portfolio that he had us do and the topic for this piece was chosen from a list that we got from Mr. Park while watching the movie Angus. The topic I chose was Screw 'em, who cares what anyone thinks. I really enjoyed writing this piece because I felt like I was putting someone in their place and also because I really agreed with it. No one can tell you how to think. Everyone has their own minds and they have to put their minds to what they want to do themselves. So, this life is mine. And I loved this poem. It was a lot of fun. Do this and that, say that and this. Sometimes you feel like it's all one big diss. They say you're not perfect the way you are. You must change if you want to be a star. You come from naught, and that's what you'll be if you don't have a lot of money. You can't do it. You'll never win. Just forget it and give in. The fact is, you're dumb. No one like you has ever won. It's all around you. So, what can you do? Remember, you have the freedom to choose to let it get you down, to make you wear a permanent frown, or you can change it and say, no way. I don't care what any of you say. I can be what I want to be, and I can see what none of you see. So screw what you think. I know I can make it because, unlike you, I will not fake it. This life is mine to live like I will, and you can be patient and take a chill pill. For I will get there and never give in because if I try, I will truly win.
Nice. Oh, let me redo this. Gosh, I did it wrong. Hold on. There we
There you
go. Gosh, it looks better when our names line up underneath us. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That was another great poem. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian. And before we keep going, could you please pause? We're having some technical issues.
Yeah.
All
All right.
right, we're having fun today. Today's just one of those days. So
Yeah, and that's the great part about the show. We don't edit out much of anything. We're able to pause, so that is at least a good enough thing. So we're gonna try to power through this. Why she has technical difficulties, but I don't think the show itself is having technical difficulties.
I
It's
might
just-
be a little insane in hearing voices.
now it's really
Oh,
just a technical problem.
yeah. Anyways, thank you for letting me share my poem. That one is one of my favorites from high school. And Park, Greg, Mr. Park, you are fantastic. Keep writing. He is a local author here in Utah, by the way, Greg Park. Look him up. He does some sci-fi books. He is just an amazing, amazing human being. And if you have students, if you're in Utah, if you are in Utah County, Utah County, and you've got students going into high school, okay, go to Timpanogos and check out Greg Park's class.
Timpanogos.
Yes.
All right.
Timpanogos.
Well,
Timpanogos
so
Timberwolves.
speaking of good old Utah, how was your
Yeah.
event that you went to?
Yes. So I've got a couple things that I wanted to talk about what's going on here locally. But first thing, yeah. So on Saturday, which will be a few weeks ago by the time you guys see this, I went in person to
The
the
actual date.
Utah.
Yeah. What was it? Was the
Yeah,
18th?
18
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
18 April. So it was the Utah Department of Veteran and Military Affairs Military and Veteran Family Readiness Fair. I know it's a tongue twister. But it was really incredible. It was at the Hill Aerospace Museum. I'm only 3 weeks out from my hysterectomy, so I didn't get a chance to, like, really view everything. I just kind of sat for the most part, but it was in the whole huge aerospace museum, and they had, like, all of the old planes, and, oh, man, it was phenomenal, phenomenal. But it was really cool. I set up a table. Um, as you guys know, my book is available now, and I have set up a nonprofit partnership with people, and I was able to sell some books. And if anybody's interested, you can buy 5 of my books for $55. So I'll sell them at cost, 5 books for 55 to donate into a facility, and then you'll get a free one. And so I actually was able to sell 10 books doing that way. And so I had people
Nice.
donate 10 books to facilities, which was so wonderful. And so then I gave them each 2 books. And then I sold 2 other books separately because you can buy one for 20 or you can buy the 5 for 55 to donate and get one for free. And so if you guys are interested, sliderbabe.com, just going to throw that out there. But, anyways, it was really fun. I also donated a couple books to the raffle. And so that was awesome. And the guy that won the books, he gave one of them away and then he came and got a signature, which was really sweet. And so it was cool. But what was really awesome too is I had the opportunity to promote the podcast. So I created these flyers. Brian created the flyer and I printed it out actually on green paper. It looks so cool. I have to show you later. But
Nice.
it's really awesome. So, anyways, I had the opportunity to promote the podcast. And you want to know the coolest thing in the world? Somebody came to me and was talking to me, and they're like, "Wait, you're Coffee Talk?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude, we talk about you guys all the time." I was like, "What?" Yeah. So apparently at the one of the VA inpatient, there's a substance abuse inpatient. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a residential program that's here, and they have the residential program, but then they also have meetups for people who are alumni, and they've been talking about Coffee Talk. Like, how flippin'
Wow.
amazing is that?
That gave me
Yeah.
goosebumps.
Yeah, dude, like, I'm tearing up, it's really cool to, like, hear that people are actually, like, listening, and it makes a difference, in the right circles. Sorry, I'm gonna cry.
Well,
But it was
that's
just
great.
yeah,
I've
it was
definitely
just
been seeing a little bit of an influx, like I said, on listens. So I mean, it's definitely showing, and then that's heartwarming. That's very
yeah.
heartwarming to hear that. I my gosh, dude, that right there is rewarding as hell. This is the first I've got to hear about it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah, it
I
was it
I
was
can feel
just
my
so
nipples through my
awesome.
shirt right now. I'm so freaking like excited. Like
That's a little weird. That TMI.
oh gosh, I know. I went there. That
No,
deserves
but yeah. But yeah, it was so awesome. So it's wonderful to just hear that people are listening to us, and it's getting into the substance abuse circles, and it's getting to the mental health circles, and the veterans, and it's been really awesome. And like part of doing the podcast, and doing my writing is I've just been doing just recovery advocacy too, recovery advocacy, veteran advocacy, and I've been getting phone calls and I've been getting people reaching out, not just from this event, but just from everything that we've been doing on the show, and things that I've been doing in the local community, where people are actually calling me. I had somebody from a VFW post call me the other day, and she's like, "Hey, I heard you're the person to talk to." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I have this event. I need to be connected with some people." And I was like, "Let's do this." So it's really
outstanding.
wonderful. Yeah, I do this stuff to connect people, and it's wonderful that people are using my name in connection to advocating. And and the podcast and just everything. So, yeah, I have my book, I never expect to make a lot of money with that, because my whole goal is just getting the word of advocacy out and recovery from trauma and addictions. And, I just it's a lot of fun. It's been great that it's like it used to be back in the day, keep my name off your tongue, keep my name off your lips. And I'm
Yeah,
like, no, let's do this. Let's get connected. And I don't know. It's been a lot of fun. So yeah. Yeah. So the
that's good.
event was
I love hearing it. I love hearing the whole thing because I know when we first met, you were on the start of this journey, really of kind of reconnecting, right, and stuff. So to see it blossom, I mean, and it's wild. We were just talking about this. We're almost hitting a year mark since
yeah.
you know Marie and I decided to join forces, and I brought her aboard. I think it was around episode 10 or 11 of Coffee Talk where we made Marie part of the show, and we've been going ever since. And it's just wild to look at our the guests that we've had on and that we have up. It's crazy to see how much the show's growing and how many people are really reaching out and want to be a part of the show now and are starting to feel more comfortable with healing out loud. So it's a beautiful thing when the schedule is pretty relatively full and you're not often having to go out there and just hunt down all these people. It's great when you start to see that people are hearing and knowing what we're doing and allowing that opportunity for someone to tell their story because they might not be there's not a lot of great opportunities for people to come out and have a platform just to come and tell their stories. And a lot of people don't just feel comfortable to just go push record and record themselves talking like we do. You know what I mean? So,
I
um,
You just reminded me too. So I've had a couple people reach out as well, and just so you know that this is an option for you guys. If you guys want to come and share your story, go to sliderbabe.com, come share your story. But I've had a couple people reach out that said, "Hey, I'm not comfortable with my name being out, but I want to share my story." And so I'm going to be contacting them and having them write their story for me, and then Brian and I will read their story and discuss it. And so that is another thing that we've got people who may not be comfortable sharing their story, but they're going to send it to us. So if you're one of those people, please send us your story. Let's get the stories out because that's the most important thing is getting the stories out, healing out loud, even if you can't use your voice yet. Let us be your voice for a little while.
yeah, you know what? And I love that. I love that actually. And I know we've talked about this before and we've kind of thrown it out there, but we need to make more of a segment, like little part of the show where it's like a vet talk story or so. I don't know. We will have something where it will be an opportunity and we'll either try to pre-record it so we can just go play it and that way the story gets out, or we'll just read the story right off rip. But I think it's just a good way. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there that may be a little bit camera shy, don't feel comfortable getting in front of the cameras. Completely understood. But that doesn't mean that your story needs to stay silenced. We will help filter out those stories. Like I said, you don't feel comfortable being in front of a video, don't even. And you know what? Hey, here's another thing, right? If you don't feel comfortable in front of a camera, we can do audio. You can come on here and you can hide off your camera just like this. Watch, I'll show you guys real quick. I'm still here, right? But I have a little logo and you can still hear me, right? If you don't feel comfortable in front of a camera, once again, that doesn't mean to be silenced, right? We can make a little avatar or something for you on the show just to get you to feel comfortable to talk, right?
Yeah, and you don't have to put your name on there either. You don't
Yeah,
have to put your name. We can just say Private Joe, or something like that. Sergeant Joe,
right.
Major Joe.
Yeah, and if you you don't feel comfortable once again sharing your name or your alias in general, we can obviously go by code names and stuff like that as well. We don't want to silence anybody. We want everybody's stories to be out there. We want you to have the ability to have your story be told. A lot of veterans out there who serve their countries and are the true heroes of this country. A lot of their stories get left untold, and a lot of people have no clue the sacrifice, the commitment, the things that some of our fellow countrymen go through. So once again, let's bring these stories to life, and we'll make some kind of a segment out of it where we'll have once we get a couple of them going, we'll start doing this and making it more of a regular show. So who's going to be first? That's the real question. Who's going to be first? Send us it out there. You can email Marie at sliderbabe.com. You can also go to sliderbabe.com, or you could also shoot me an email, and I'm not as good at checking my email as she is, at everydaysaturday365@yahoo.com. And yeah, we'll get you guys either on the show or your story on the show nevertheless. But today it's just going to be Marie and I, and just going to kind of open it up to a general conversation. Marie has a little bit of something she wanted to kind of talk about, and we'll go from there and see where this one takes us.
Yeah. So I wanted to share with you guys. So I was talking about that substance inpatient, and whatnot, and how people are, as alumni, they're coming back to share their stories and to support each other and to do a support group, right? And I wanted to really touch base on the importance of of continuing your continuing getting support after you get out of inpatient and continuing to keep growing. So I went to my inpatient unit at the VA yesterday. Okay. And the reason why is because, I had people donate those books at the event on Saturday, and I decided to give 3 of them to the VA inpatient. And so I went over there yesterday, and it's the first time I've been to that inpatient in 4 years. So I was an inpatient in 2022, December of 2022. And I got out of there and I haven't been back. Haven't been back to visit, haven't been back to any, and like I don't think that they do support groups for the alumni from just the inpatient, but they do it for the residential program. So anyways, I went back there and one of the docs came out to meet me. And I was like, hey, I wanted to donate these books. And I kind of told him, I was like, yeah, so I write these books about recovery from trauma and addiction. And he just kind of looked at me. He's like, he's like, we never get to hear the success stories. He's like, "We don't get to hear them." He's like, "You guys come in here and you leave, and then that's it." He's like, "We never know what's going on." And he looked like he was almost in tears. And he's like, he's like, "I really just appreciate you coming back and letting us know that you're okay and sharing your story with us." And he's like, "I actually," and it was really cool because you know how God works. God works in mysterious ways, you know. And he's like, I have a lady that is inpatient right now, a lady veteran that's inpatient. He's like, and I've been thinking that she needs something more. And he's like, I think you just gave me that something more that she needs. He's like, I really think she's going to benefit from hearing your story and from reading your book. And so it was just really, really cool. But it really highlighted to me the importance of like checking back in. I don't know if that makes sense, but like if you guys have had any experience going inpatient, okay, or residential or doing an IOP, intensive outpatient, it might be beneficial to go back to those doctors and let them know how you're doing. Share your story. If you've written a book, donate your book into the facilities. Let them know that what they did mattered. What they did actually like makes a difference. Share your story with the people who helped you get to the point where you're at. I didn't realize how important that was, and that makes me realize that, this PTSD program that I went to, I want to go and donate books to that facility as well, and the psych unit that I went to back in December, because these guys, they don't get to hear the success stories. They see you when you are in your lowest. And then, they let you out, and then they don't know what happens. They don't know if you're still alive, if you killed yourself, if you relapsed, if you healed, if you have success in your life now. So anyways, I would just encourage you, like, go back to some of these facilities that have helped you out and thank them. It may not even be the same people when you go. It may not be. This guy has been there for 10 years, the one that I talked to. But some of them come in and out, but I'll tell you what, the light that I saw in his eyes when he's like, "Oh, this is a success story. Like you are healing," And I was like, "Yeah, I still have my traumas, and yeah, I ended up in the psych unit again, but here is how I am healing." And it made a world of a difference to him, you know? And so I just thought it was a really cool experience.
I think that's always important, right? A lot of these organizations, their mission is as long as I can touch one person, right? You hear a lot of people regurgitate that same line. As long as I can touch one person. With that being said, be that one person that they touched by letting them know that you touched them in such a way that changed their trajectory in life. Because yeah, we are conditioned, I think, as humans to kind of just keep moving forward. Even like when you graduate high school, you had teachers that were kind of your mentors for a long duration of time. Some of them you knew for a long time, right? Like I know there's teachers that I knew from freshman all the way to senior year. Then I graduated, went off into the Marine Corps, never seen any of them really ever again, right? They don't know what trajectory my life went off. And then some of them were very instrumental in my life, like some of my coaches, you know? And I have gone back and I have gone back to some of them and I have directly went and messaged because now we have that ability on Facebook and social media to kind of have a little bit more of connection with folks, and but I do think it is important, right, to let people know when they have had a major change in your life to some degree, to some effect, because you don't even know what that fuel may do for that person, right? Because they may be already thinking in their head, they may be at some kind of a crossroad of, man, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe I'm not really helping anybody. Maybe this isn't really impacting anything. And they're waiting for that one little sign. And you could be that one person just by saying, you know what, dude, hey, and it could be a query. It could even be as simple as a little text message or just a little nice little email or something to someone and just saying, I just wanted to tell you something. What you
You
did
made
right
a
there
difference.
is you made a difference in my day. You kept me go. You've given me another reason to keep going, or whatever it may be, So it's huge, and that's one of the things that we try to preach on the show is take your PTSD and your healing and turn it into being an advocacy, right? And advocate and because you don't even know, like if every single one of us can touch one person, then we're going to cut this shit out by at least 50% if we could all contact one human and make a difference in one human's life. And that doesn't sound like it's a lot, but it is, because that's generation after you save that one person, you're saving generations after that, right? Because it's not just that one person. That person's going to touch other people's lives. Now they're going to stay alive. They're going to be there. And now it's going to be we're going to have more of a trickle effect. And while we have all this distraction and all this chaos going on in the news and things to drive a wedge in between us, now is the time more than ever to stand tall and fucking and not allow some of that to go through and remember that the person right next to us probably thinks a lot like us as well, and probably wants the same exact thing. They want a good future for their families, themselves, their life. I mean, I don't know who the hell wants to be here and live in fucking discontent, disharmony. I really don't know anybody out there that's looking for that. But I think it's just important that we have to not allow ourselves to go silent, even after you got through this. That's one thing with mental health. I think a lot of people do this in terms of even when it comes to religion or anything else. They always fall back when it's like the roughest times back to these things, and then they get through it. And then once again, they kind of forget about what, that they just kind of that everything they all went through again. And sometimes you don't realize, just because we get out of the clear, or just because the rain or the storm's gone, that doesn't mean that another storm doesn't come through. So, to just to kind of abandon that ship that really kind of helped you get back to the land, you can't just forget about that bitch at the dock. You know what I mean? We got to keep those ships ready for any kind of battles that may come our way. And
So I based on what you're saying right there, I want to read another poem. I know usually I don't read second
so
poems.
let's do this. Let's do our
Yeah.
quick veteran showcase, and then when we pop back from there, I'm gonna bring you in, and I'll have you read the next poem.
Okay.
Good to go?
Because it's going to go right into what I want to talk about next.
Perfiendo. All right. So, all right. Just a little quick disclaimer when it comes to the veteran showcase. I think we decided we're going to keep going, right? We are running a risk, I think, by playing these videos, and we're not trying to benefit anything from. We don't own the rights to the music. We're not trying to claim the rights to any of this music. We are doing this because we want to showcase these veterans. We want to highlight their talents. Now, with that also being said, the audio doesn't always come through as clear. So I would just suggest that you guys go check out their social medias and go listen to it in person. That way you get a real feel of the actual audio. On my end, unfortunately, it sounds great. So I always think, but when I'm re-listening to the episode, I'm like, it doesn't sound as crisp as it should. So let's just keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to go ahead, and this next guy was going to be a guest on the show, but due to circumstances in the world, I think he had a lot going on and wasn't able to make it. But he is an Army. He's actually, I think he's still currently serving, to be honest with you as well. But he's in the United States Army, just an awesome dude. He really loves his music, and I think he's hoping once he retires that he's going to be full-time into his music. And what's really cool about his music is if you are you grew up in those 90s, like Bush, if you listen to Bush, Creed, or any of those kind of bands, that's kind of the vibe you're going to get from Michael Allen. But I went ahead, and we're going to go ahead and play one of his great songs.
Tactician Musician is his
musician.
name. Tactician Musician.
Yeah, the Tactician Musician. We'll bring it up. I'm going to bring it up right now, and we'll play one of his great songs. Let me cue a song up. Bring up this song, War Machine. Have to go through this whole. All right, there we go. All right. And we're just.
They'll ship you off to a factory where blacksmiths work every day to mold you into a weapon, all then statue made in you until your skin becomes steel. They'll fill your mind full of ammo, oh, then ship you off to war to kill. It's something you never asked for, something you can't quite explain. It's something you'll never understand, how a man becomes a war machine. How a man becomes a war machine. We fly on birds to our nest now, in the darkness of the night. Now this is where we will live, oh, and this is where we'll fight. We spend hours playing chess, trying to stay one step ahead. If I see one wrong move on my board, I'll send a checkmate right through his head. It's something you never asked for, something you can't quite explain. It's something you'll never understand, how a man becomes a war machine. How a man becomes a war machine. Now I'm at home safe in my bed, but I can't move, I can't speak. I hear the chatter in my head. The enemy's here, but I am stuck in this sleep. I try to reach for my weapon, I'll reach with all of my might. But when I finally awaken, oh, my weapon, it is nowhere in sight. Now my heart is just racing. How was that just a dream? It seems I'm paralyzed from all the horrible things that I've seen. It's something you never asked for, something you can't quite explain. It's something you'll never understand, how a man becomes a war machine. How a man becomes a war machine.
That was awesome. I'm excited to have him on our show at some point. So the poem that I wanted to read is that idea of continuing to challenge what's going on even when you are feeling better, right? So Brian was just bringing up the topic of that idea of, like in spirituality, right? You go see God when things are really rough, you ask him for help, and then when things are going better, you kind of walk away. And it's same thing that a lot of people do with mental health. They're like, "Hey, I'm struggling. I'm going to go into the psych unit or I'm going to get into therapy." And then they're like, "Oh, now I'm doing better. Now I'm going to walk away." right? And they don't continue maintaining their mental health or their spirituality, whatever it is. And so I've read this poem on the podcast before, but I want to read it again and then just kind of discuss that topic of that idea of when are you done with therapy? When are you done with spirituality? When are you done with getting help? You know, when are you done maintaining, the health and the help? And so this is a poem, it's called The Wolves, and it's based on the Native American. There's a Native American story. No one really knows where it came from about this grandpa talking to his grandson about two wolves, and he said, "There's two wolves inside." And the grandson's like, "Well, which one wins?" And he's like, "The one that you feed." And so I wrote this poem based on that. And it's just about that idea of continuing to feed the right wolf, even when you are doing good. And so it's called The Wolves. One wolf inside is getting strong by feeding on the light. The other one, who seeks the dark in blindness, tries to bite. I'm so sorry. Hold on just a moment. There's a reprint of it. This is the old print of it. I'm so sorry. And let me pull that up really quick. I apologize. Sorry guys, just 1 second. Because it was reprinted. Control find. Oh, I have it in my book. But I don't know where my book is. Hold on. Okay. Just a minute. Brian, pause for a second. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Lots of, difficulties today. But that's what makes us real, right? I got my brace on, we're messing up with all of this stuff. So, okay. So, this is the poem, The Wolves. So I had rewritten part of it for the book. So, yeah, anyways. The wolves. One wolf inside is getting strong by feeding on the light. The other one, who seeks the dark in blindness, tries to bite. I used to thrive in darkness, seeking to be numb. They say the one we feed will tend to overcome. I stopped feeding darkness when I saw his lies. He was getting even stronger, eating my insides, taking liberties to weaken me so I couldn't fight. Now the other wolf duplicates the light. Since I've been feeding light, I finally feel at ease. Yet I still feel darkness. His breath is like a breeze. When light fills every crevice, I feel my muscles building. I'll never really know all the things he's shielding. As I'm taking in more light, I know I'm getting stronger. My list of reasons to continue is slowly getting longer. The wolf of light shines brighter when the dark one goes to sleep. I must maintain good habits to support upkeep. Though he may lie dormant, darkness hasn't retreated. One day I'll meet the source of light, then dark will be defeated. Until that day arrives, whenever he has stirred, I hope I put more light inside, dark's eyesight to be blurred. Darkness cannot win when feeding the wolf of light. I know that in the end, it will be worth the fight. And so the reason I wanted to share this, and Brian, you can come back on if you want. This one is like I was just talking to a sponsee of mine, right? And the reality of this life, the reality of this struggle, the reality of just reality is that if you're not going one way, you are going the other. Plain and simple. We are literally on this like the way that I had it visual at one point when I was younger is that we are on a river. We are on a river that no matter what it is going, that river wants to take us down to a waterfall and make us crash. It just does. Like entropy, whatever, things are meant to be destroyed, whatever. Okay. So we're on this river. We've got this this stuff that is taking us. If we are not constantly fighting forward, we are following that river and we will crash and burn. If we're not constantly seeking out for help with regards to like recovery groups, support systems, our higher power, whatever that higher power is, therapy, if we are not consistently reaching out for help, we will be dragged down. And it's proven time and time again, at least in my own life, if I am not actively putting more light inside of me, whatever that is, right? With spirituality, with therapy, or with recovery groups, if I am not actively putting more light inside, then I crash and burn every time because my go-to is isolation, doom scrolling, and addiction. That is my natural go-to. And I hope one day that is not my, I hope one day we will all be healed. But when it comes to my own life with my traumas, with my addictions, that is my go-to. And so I have to be consistently doing it. So like for some people, in recovery groups, they'll take the steps and then they never do the steps again. And they're fine. Okay? Or in their mind, they're fine. There are some people that do therapy. They go to therapy, a couple times and then they're fine. There are some people that they go and get baptized in church and then they're fine, you know, but
Wash it all.
more often than not. Okay. And those are a select few. Okay. But more often than not, what I see is people go through this healing, whatever this healing is. Okay. And if they don't continue putting the healing inside of them, they crash and burn. They relapse, they fall away from the church, they go end up back in the psych unit or end up back in their addictions. And so for someone like me, and if you are like me, just because you are doing good, don't stop getting the help. Like I mentioned in this Sober Vet podcast, right? Some people can like go to therapy occasionally and they're fine. Or they can go to therapy once or twice and be fine. They can go to therapy now and then 10 years later go to therapy again. For me, I will be going to therapy for the rest of my life. Some form of therapy, some form of recovery group, some form of spirituality. I will have to do it for the rest of my life because I don't have a good default, if that makes sense.
And what we need to make sure everybody understands here is when we say this, right? It doesn't got to be a certain thing, right? You just got to find that thing that works good for you. If you like walking and you want to keep walking, and you walk because you're going through some hard time, and then you get through it and you don't want to do it no more. The thing about it is you should keep those routines that are very good for you, right? We tend to like only go back to certain things in the time of need, like and we don't keep the maintenance going for ourselves, right? We're like, oh shit, I don't need that no more. I'm good to go. Like this pin, boom, you know what I mean? And you never know though when you're gonna need that pin again at some form or matter. And when
You have to keep putting in the positive light and the positive experiences, and whether that's therapy, whether that's spirituality, whether it's support group, or whether it's the good habits. Yeah, you have to continue. Must maintain upkeep. You
I
must
look at it
continue.
too. It's a daily strengthening, right? We're strengthening ourselves. Every single day you keep moving forward and you want to do better. You're strengthening yourself, right? And that's going to help you when your next trials and tribulations come through, because it's going to happen. Life is not intended for it just to be like, I mean, if you got through life and you didn't have any problems, good for you. You didn't experience any death. Good for you. Yeah, I mean, but I don't see how that's even possible, right? Like life is a very unexpected thing, and we don't know what the next hour is going to bring us. We don't even know what the next second is going to bring us, for that matter. But the thing about this is that we got to continue to move forward, and we got to continue to strengthen our armor up and continue to, if you meditate, keep meditating, daily. If you pray, keep your prayers going. Be thankful every single day, not just for the thank God you got me through this for the second. Wake up and say thank you God for giving me today, or whatever. Just but continue to keep doing that pattern that helped you get stabilized. We tend to like use it and just like boom, like sometimes with these, even with these podcasts, right? Every day you hear a different story. It may not be the story that resonates with you today, but fuck, you could be in it for tomorrow. You just never know what is going to bring to you.
You have to continue. Like, there is a reason why babies learn how to crawl before they walk. And when people, end up getting hurt, they have to learn how to crawl before they walk again. Right. There is a reason, we talk about ABCs, right? And you go back to your ABCs over and over again when you're younger, right? And like you have to go back to baby steps, and you have to treat yourself, go back to the basics, basically Barney style, break it down Barney style, right? You have to go back to the basics, and you have to do that like every day. You have to remember, okay, when it comes to recovery, right? Steps 1, 2, and 3, you have to do those literally every day. Step 1, there's a power that wants to kill me. Step 2, there's a power that wants me to live. Step 3, I'm going to ask them, whatever that is. It's, you have to go back to the basics of the little things that help you to keep moving forward. Community, that is a baby step. That is a Barney style, reaching out for help, having some sort of community, reaching out for support, and then if whatever your higher power is, reaching out to that higher power every day. Basic food and shower and sleep, going back to the basics. If you're having a really crappy day, are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? That HALT, HALT. If you are feeling like crap, halt yourself. HALT. Am I hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? And if I am, take care of those basics, because if you don't continue doing the basics that help you, which again goes into, sometimes it's having a therapist, or saying a prayer, or just taking care of these baby steps, like, you will fall backwards, because whatever that darkness is, like, it's part of this life. It just is. Whatever you want to call it, negativity, Satan, addiction, trauma, whatever you want to call it, it is a part of this life, and it doesn't retreat. It's still there. It's just lies dormant. And so if we're not taking care of these basics, it will come out and it will start to attack us again. So please, continue to reach out for help, continue to do the basics, feed yourself, take rest, connect with people, just do the basics. And when you know that you are doing better, go back and touch base on the things that helped you get to where you're at, so that you don't fall back all the way down.
You know, Something I was just thinking about is we go from a place of being uncomfortable, right, to a place of complacency, right? So you're in a place where it's a shitty time, and I'm saying this only for myself, right? This is, and maybe this doesn't apply for everybody, but I've gone through this iteration very much so. But I do feel like you go from that place of being uncomfortable, then you work your way out of that, and then you get yourself into complacency once again, right? And then you're back to that kind of like just going back to the normal of life, just the basics. And now you kind of forgot about, you were maybe reaching back, and you were a little bit more into prayer. You were into this, watching these podcasts, listening to this, or next thing you know, you're just like back to like doing all the things that you were doing before you got yourself uncomfortable, right? So you just got to always remember, you never know at what point in time that complacency can become right back into being uncomfortable again, and so we just got to be careful as you tread through this world. And like I said, you don't got to be sitting here in the dumps or nothing. I'm just saying, like, stay on that positive path of whatever you were doing that built the steps to get you to feeling complacent again.
So that just reminded me there's a saying, and I'm gonna completely butcher the saying. Completely. That's how I
Make
roll.
your own.
But
Yeah.
it's something to do with hard times create strong people.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Strong people create easy times. Okay. Easy times create weak people. And then weak people create hard times. And it goes into this cycle. So you go through an adversity, and people talk about that when it comes to society, because that's what happens, right? In society, we get these really hard, difficult times, and then people are like really, really strong, and then these strong people, set up things to make things easier for us in the future, which makes us complacent, and then it creates hard times. But that's what happens with us individually. Like for me, I went through my traumas, and it made me stronger, right? And so then as I'm stronger, things kind of balance out. And then I think that I've got this and I'm doing great, and things are balanced, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't need to do this. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do this. And then, like you said, get complacent. And that complacency, then I lose my footing and I lose my foundation. And that's when hard times come again. And so we
There's a
can
saying in the
avoid.
military that they have: a complacency kills, right?
Yeah.
And it can kill you, because you're thinking everything's all good, but boom, you get smacked in the back of the head.
Yeah, and so that's why the idea is, and this is one reason why I love dialectic behavioral therapy. Okay. And I don't get paid for promoting this stuff. Okay. I wish I did. That would be awesome. I would make a crap ton of money. But
Folks,
dialectic yeah, but dialectic behavioral therapy has saved my life. And the reason for it is it focuses on creating patterns of behavior and tools that you can access during a hard time. And that's the thing that we have to do is we have to maintain these habits continuously so that when the hard times happen, we don't fall on our face, that we actually have the tools to lean on, and we have the stability with our higher power, stability with our therapy, stability with our support group. Sorry, this kind of brings me back into that idea that I wanted to say, which brings us back all the way to the beginning, is that idea of, if you have been through, like, if you've utilized nonprofit organizations and whatnot, like, we talk a lot about these nonprofit organizations. They do a bunch of retreats and this, that, and the other, right? If you have utilized them to do an event or a retreat, continue going back to these events. Continue going back and staying connected to these people, because if you are having a hard time, you already have that resource available for you, and they can continue supporting you, you know? And so that's the thing is if you're climbing up a ladder, you wanna make sure that you've got people holding your hand along the way. And so reach back out to some of these programs that you have utilized, or to some of these events that you've been to. Reach out to the people who have put them on, because that'll help you in the future if you start falling.
Not only that, but I think it's critical. We talk about, how these organizations, a lot of times they help people, and a lot of us, we never say anything about it, right? Because we go from that uncomfortableness when we got back into being complacent again, so we kind of forget about that dark moment. But I think we do owe each of these organizations, I think, a little bit of some. Honestly, what would this take? Maybe 3 to 5 minutes of your time to pull up the email and shoot them a little testimonial. Hey, hey, such and such, thank you so much for that opportunity that you gave me. It has changed my trajectory in life, and I really benefited from this, and I know other veterans can. Now that right there is something they can take, and they can put that on their website, and like I said, now we start building that factor of making people feel comfortable too for using this, because now they're seeing that others are enjoying what they're seeing, or they're benefiting from it. And it's like they use a key word. They're like, dude, I'm in this fucking same position as that person was, and hopefully this program can do the same thing for me. Now, I think that there's a little bit of expectations out there from us as veterans, and I think that we gotta sometimes remove the expectation portion. All these organizations are here is to help us. They're not gonna freaking completely solve your problem. So don't look, even in the same shit for the veteran, the VA. If you're looking at the VA to go solve your world, you're gonna be in a world of hurt. You got to go out there, and there's a level of that you got to kind of do things on yourself too, and and utilize these as tools, not as permanent fixtures. And like, this is part of my system now. No, these are just tools and things to help us get through. Right? We're gonna use these. We're gonna not abuse these. And we're going to just keep, like building ourselves up, right? The thing about it is some of us don't have the willingness to keep building it up. And then what we do is we latch into something, and then we start blaming it on that system, particularly as to why everything's going to shit. And it has nothing to do with the individual who decided that they have no more willingness to fight.
So, and there's a couple things with regards to that too. Okay. One thing, there is a notion that will kill anything for you, and that is contempt prior to investigation. Okay. If you have heard a hell story from somebody about a certain organization or this, that, and the other, you have to remember that that is their individual experience, and it does not portray the actual program itself. Like, you've got people that talk crap about the VA all the time. I have had amazing experiences at this Utah VA. It's been phenomenal. It's been wonderful. Yeah, I've had moments of hell, but the
Sure.
overarching
Yeah.
has been great. But I hear people talk about that the Utah VA is so shitty and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So the thing that I will say, it's the same thing with some of the nonprofits, or same thing with therapies, or this, that, and the other. You cannot have contempt prior to investigation. You have to investigate it for yourself, because you don't know the situation that somebody else went through. They could have been having a really hard time and taking things personally, or the specific people who were working that day were in a shitty mood because their mom just died. And so they had a horrible experience. So the art of the dialectic is, and this is DBT again, but the art of the dialectic is, somebody had a bad experience and I could have a good experience. It's recognizing that two things can be true. And so if you are looking into a program and you hear one or two people say that this was a shitty program, screw them, go and try it out for yourself. And don't take it personally if it doesn't work for you either. That is another thing. If this specific program doesn't work for you, don't be one of those assholes that's out there bad mouthing it, because this program could save somebody else's life. Okay. So you have to look at it both ways. If this doesn't work for you, okay, that's awesome. Try something else. Try something else. Try something else. Let go of this resentment. Like Brian said, that this is going to fix me, because it's not going to fix you. It will help you. It will give you tools. It will help you keep moving forward. But if it doesn't, then okay, you don't have to hold on to anger and resentment. It just wasn't for you, but it doesn't mean that it can't help someone else. And it doesn't mean that another program won't help you. So the basis of the situation is get out of your own way. Let go of pain and anger and resentment. Get your head out of your ass. Stop blaming other people for if something doesn't work for you, and find some joy where you can. And let go of what doesn't work for you.
It's like
You take what you need, and then you leave the rest. And when you leave the rest, you don't leave the rest in shambles. You say, this didn't work for me. Okay, let's move forward. But you talking shit about it, or being resentful about it, that could impact somebody else's chance. And now it's up to that person. And this is where it all gets crazy. It's up to that person to take what you say as a grain of salt and let go of contempt prior to investigation. So it's this whole cycle. Sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent there. But
No. So I'm going to talk about two things real quick. 988. So don't let me forget about 988. All right. But before I get to 988, what I want to say is that, look at yourself like whenever you're going into something, you obviously have wounds. You're going into it with wounds. You got cuts, you got abrasions, you got some gashing blood coming out. These places are there as ways to help you heal. They might provide you some band-aids, some ointments, things of that nature to kind of soothe your wounds. They're not there to.
But sometimes they have to rip off your dead skin so that new skin can grow if you've been burned. That is a big one too. Just going into there, because they can be applying things to help you, but sometimes they also have to rip open the wound to get the infection out. Continue.
100%. No, yeah, no, and that's just exactly it. And so you got to look at it when you're going into some of these places. It's a complete treatment. Whether yes, it may be your head, and it's not like you have a physical wound or anything, but there's wounds all inside of us that a lot of people do not see, the wounds that are inside. Those are the wounds that hurt the worst, mostly, is the ones that people can't see. Right. So, when you go to these places, they're not going to necessarily fix you, but they're going to give you that ability to help yourself get fixed. Right. And if that doctor or that place isn't working for you, then you're going to go find someone else that's going to get you the help that is going to get you, the need and the care that you need. Now, I want to talk a little bit about 988. Right now, just like Marie said, and say this is the same thing with the VA. You have people that will tell you how bad the VA system is, and then you have people out there that will glorify the VA system, and then you have kind of people that are in between, right? That don't feel either way. Now, same thing with 988 press 1. All right, now 988 press 1 is an instrument, and I think a lot of people look at it as it's there to save them. A recent incident that just happened, and there's some controversy surrounding this incident, is an Army veteran called 988 in distress, and was really outside of his keister. Right. And just like losing it, and had been calling 988 multiple times at this rate in time. Now, this last in particular time, the dude threatens life from fucking head to toe, of like he's going to kill people and he's going to hurt people, including himself. So the 988 people, they are mandated reporters, and they are required to report things that are not safe to the public or whatever. So now this 988 caseworker who's working with this guy goes and does this. Right now, he's facing federal crimes and stuff like that, like for domestic terrorist threats. He's really, now the law is being thrown at him. Now there's a double-edged sword here. Right. Here's a veteran who is in a bad space. And a lot of people can't fathom the space that these veterans, this guy right here was in multiple combat tours. Right. Okay. So there's a lot of people out there, including my fucking self, that has no clue what this man's been through. Right. I have a little bit of an inclination of, I'm sure I can tell you. But I didn't walk a mile in his shoe at all. Right. So, he goes to 988 thinking he's probably in a safe space. He's at his worst moment. And a lot of us know that I know for me, my tongue becomes a major dagger. I come super evil, and I'm just vulgar as all hell. So I can only imagine when this dude's at his, like, he's just going off. Now, I don't know in what context and what exactly was said in terms of the threat, The story is very vague, of course. So it's always going to be somewhat of a narrative driven based off of where we've seen this report come out of. I do know that Travis Partington is actually covering this case right now. So if you guys are interested in this, I think he's already like on part 3. He's had family members of the guy on, mom,
Oscar Mike Radio is his podcast. Oscar Mike Radio, Travis Partington.
Yep. Yeah. Go check that out. It's gonna give you a lot more insight of the actual story of what's going on. But I've had multiple reports because on this show we do put out there, call 988 press 1, right? It's now I've been torn with this, right? Because I've had people come in and then tell me how bad 988 is, but then I've had another veteran tell me how great it was and that saved his life.
It saved my life multiple times and my husband.
You as well. Yeah. Right. Correct. So I can't just say, all right, well, I'm going to shut out 988 press 1 because this one in particular human had a bad experience, when I have other reports too coming out saying that goes for the VA as well, right? Like it goes from county to county. Not unfortunately, we umbrella the veteran as one. The whole thing is one, but it isn't. It isn't. In reality, it is not. The VA is very much bound to the counties, the states that they work in, and in whatever,
and the individuals who are working.
That too, right? And in whatever your selective pool of workers are for those areas, and some of these areas are way more congested than others, right? Like if you go down into LA, if you go down into San Francisco, you go to any major city, the VA wait is going to be a long wait. Right. So you are going to hear about those people like, man, I was in a waiting room for 4 hours, and that's because there is a very big influx in these major cities where they do need to open it up and do better. Just like any other organization or anything else in this world, we could all do better in something. Right. So it's hard to really umbrella things and just throw it under there. Right. I did contemplate at one point in time, wow, should I not play 988 press 1, but it's like, I will say this, be very cognizant of what you're saying to someone, no matter how upset you are. Even your own therapist, unfortunately, they are mandated reporters. And if you are in there making some kind of a threat, they are allowed to go and tell authorities, whether you think you're protected or not. That there is a level of threshold there that when they start to feel that you are a threat to yourself or your community, and that you can off someone in your home. Now, just imagine, right? Let's play devil advocate here a little bit and put ourselves in that position of that operator. That operator who's sitting there hearing this person, and maybe there's notes. I do know that he called multiple times. I don't know at what levels and what things he was saying, but this person right here hit a crossroad in the road, right? Wow, this guy's on the deep edge. Is he serious? Is he not serious? If I don't take him serious, what happens to the operator? This guy goes and carries out his threat, right? And I imagine a lot of these 988 calls are probably recorded to be ensured that whatever's being said is properly transcribed, just in case something to this effect comes through. So the thing about this is, if that mandated reporter doesn't report it, and this dude goes postal and he goes and carries out his plan of attack, or even just not even that plan, he's just goes out and offs his family, who is now going to be held accountable for this action? Not the dude that went he's gonna, obviously he probably offed himself after he did this. And who's gonna fall on? It's gonna fall on that person who's just a volunteer. I'm sure a lot of these 988.
That's what I was gonna say. That's something that you guys have to remember, is they are volunteers too.
They're not paid. They don't have degrees in psychology. They're there to help you and point you down to resources. But some of them are on the receiving end of someone who's at the worst part of their life and everything's a piece of shit. And I mean, I imagine that person was getting just annihilated vulgarly, just like by the words of the human, because I get it, dude. I've been in some bad situations and I felt like fuck it all, you know what I mean? Myself. Like I just like I was but it was a moment of rage and stuff like that. So but like I said, where does that put a reporter who's supposed to report this? It puts them in a bad position when you're sitting there making fucking crazy threats. And I imagine that there was a level that the person kind of was like, all right. And then they're like, okay, this motherfucker's way too serious for me. I don't know.
Well, the reality too in this is even though it really sucks for that guy, he is probably going to get the help that he finally needs.
Oh, he did.
And exactly. And so that's the thing too
Now
is
he's in
like
legal
I
trouble
know.
on top of the help he's getting. Right?
Yeah, but
So,
what I'm saying is sometimes people have to hit their bottom, and sometimes that bottom is getting in legal trouble. Like I have a friend, he might end
I
up
think
coming
he's up
on.
to like 20 years though. It
I know,
is a
I know,
ugly
I know.
consequence that
But
he may
some
have to.
people need that. In the recovery rooms,
Right.
we talk about that some people need jails, institutions, and death before they can heal. Okay. And
Yeah.
that's for trauma and that's for addictions, jails, institutions, or even death. That is some people's bottoms. And sometimes we have to let them hit their bottoms. So in this situation, maybe this man can finally get the help that he needs. And like I was saying, I've got a friend who might come on our show at some point, but he just dealt with something similar. Okay. I don't want to go into all the details, but he was arrested last year because he had some stuff in his car and somebody had threatened him and he pulled his gun out and
Mm.
he's just like, yo, back up, leave me alone. And it was a road rage incident and he's like, get out of here, leave me alone. And he drove away and went to park into a parking lot and he went to call the police to just let them know what happened. But somebody else had called the police, saw him leave, and they thought that he was avoiding arrest. And so he ended up getting his everything got
Confis-
evaluated in his car and he wasn't in a good mental state and he actually had some stuff in there that he had built himself because his PTSD had gotten so bad. He was trying to protect himself and he was also, just not in a good state of mind and was debating deucing out. And so he ended up getting arrested. And it was they tried to force him and I want to go into the details later on, but they tried to force him to plead guilty to terrorism.
Mm.
And he ended up spending 6 months, 6 to 8 months. I can't remember exactly, 6 to 8 months in jail. When I had an advocate here that was trying to work with him, and we were trying to get into it, and there was something that was going on in the higher ups that they just kept pushing and pushing. This is terrorism, terrorism. He had multiple people, multiple advocates, multiple mental health professionals saying, get him into a PTSD program. Get him into a PTSD program. This is not something, it wasn't terrorism. It wasn't anything like that. He didn't have nefarious, he was in a state of literally being triggered back into his deployment. And he literally was dealing with mental health issues and having a psychotic break. But he needed to be in jail to help him to calm back down and to get the mental health that he needed and to be open to the help because he wasn't open to the help before. He was not open. And so even though he was unfairly stuck in there for as long as he was, it gave him the opportunity to get the help that he needed. And when he got out, he got into a program to help him. And so he's doing much better now. But the reality is, when it comes into that situation, when you're having a psychotic break, it takes a split-second decision for you to do something stupid. And it's the
Mm.
same thing with this guy at the 988. It takes a split second, and so the people who are evaluating what's going on, they may not think that are genuinely trying to hurt other people, but they see that you are not safe, and in the situation you're in, you will hurt yourself or somebody else, even though you're not, like, seriously trying to hurt somebody. So sometimes people need that I can't remember the word, like that, not reintegration, that intervention. Some people need the legal intervention, and so I know that it sucks for some people, and people, lose trust in the system, but this will save you and save other people. And so please don't use this as a reason to avoid reaching out to that program, because that program can save your life, it can save other people's lives. But just remember that sometimes, even if you're pissed off about what happens, sometimes we need to be locked up. We need to. It's we need to hit that bottom to get the help. And now this man, he's gonna have the choice. Am I gonna be resentful and angry and pissed off and then never get the help that I need? Or am I going to genuinely find love and support and find peace? And this man, if he's in jail for the next 20 years, do you know how many veterans are gonna go in and out of jail in those 20 years that he can support? And he can say, "Here's my journey. Here is what to avoid. Here is the help that I've received." He can help so many other people from sitting in that jail cell if he chooses that right mentality. So whatever may happen, this can be an opportunity for growth, with that light. If you're feeding the wolf of light,
you're either going to sink or swim, right?
Yeah, or it will be that opportunity to feed the wolf of darkness and just keep going down a dark path.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about it, right? Is the hard part is needing that rock bottom sometimes to bounce yourself back up. But once you hit it, the good part about it is the only way to go is up from there, right? So that's always the positive part. But guys,
I was just gonna say, in recovery, we talk about bottoms being an elevator. Okay. The reality is every bottom that you hit is a floor on the elevator. It'll keep going. It'll keep going to your death if you want it to.
You got to build the
elevator
so it has the ability to go back up. Because I mean,
no. This elevator only goes down. Okay, here is the mentality. Okay, this elevator will go down as low as you want it until it crashes at the bottom and you die. Spiritually, physically, mentally, whatever it is, right? It will go as low as you want and it will crash and burn and it will die until you get into your emotional hell, right? Your that hell in your mind, and you will crash and die and burn, okay? But you can get off the flipping elevator at any point, and there's a staircase that goes back up. And that is when you take the steps. And that is when you reach out for help. And that is when you keep moving forward, and it's a lot of work. The elevator is easy. You can keep riding that elevator. It's flipping easy. But when you step off the elevator, there is work to do. And you have to walk up the steps. And so whether that's recovery steps, spiritual steps, emotional steps, whatever it is, there is work to be done. So don't ride the elevator. Don't flip and crash and burn. You don't have to. Get off the elevator. Use whatever bottom that you're at, whatever floor you're at. Get off the damn elevator and do the work to come back up.
Yeah, let's stop being proactive and be a little reactive, right? I mean, hope. Yeah.
Stop being reactive and start being proactive.
Exactly. And that's the problem is a lot of us, we're super reactive to things and we're not proactive to the situation. So that way the reaction could be a lot less. And that's just what we're trying to say here. I'm not saying to live in your sorrows, but I am just saying, hey, kind of remember where you came from. Remember the part where you were super uncomfortable and now you're starting to feel comfortable again. I find myself there sometimes, and then I have to I'm like, hey, hold up, man, hold up. You're starting to feel like like even here, right? I went through some rough times, and even sometimes I'm like, I'm starting to feel a little complacent. All right, you know what I mean? Let's kind of bring ourselves down and just live in the time and the moment and just be the happy where we're at. Once again, guys, we're going to get ready to head on out of here, but we want to appreciate you guys for the support and the love that you guys have showed the show. Just keep sharing it out with your friends, your family. You never know who can hear from this. You do not have to be a veteran of this to listen to this show. It will help a lot of people because I imagine each and every one of you are affected by a veteran in your life to some form or fashion. We do have some warriors, men and women out there right now as we speak that are in harm's way. So Godspeed, and our prayers are with our brothers and sisters who are overseas, and for the family members who are here, just know that there's people like Brian and Marie who care. We do care, right? We're doing this because we care. We're doing this because we hurt. We felt some kind of way, and we don't want others to do that either, right? There's always a place for you guys here. If you're a mother, you're a father, you're a brother, you're a sister, aunt, uncle, and you feel uneasy about certain things, and maybe you want some clarification, you could just reach out to us. And we're here to talk to. We're not going to bite anybody's head off. You want to come on and have a conversation with us? That's kind of what the basis of the show is. It's very conversational based. We're not here to interrogate anybody unless we're like so uber impressed with your story. Like I told you guys, I try not to read about our guest, and I did it this one. And I was like, next thing you know, I'm on YouTube looking them up. I'm just like, oh, well, like I said,
You're talking about EJ?
I blew my surprise and stuff. So now I'm all like, oh, I was ready to start talking to him about the stuff before the show goes. But anyways, we thank you guys. We love you guys. Keep liking the show, rate it for us. And once again, if you'd like to be a part of the show, don't be afraid. We don't bite. Ask others have been on here. Hit us up, sliderbabe.com. Go check out the schedule for us. Put yourself on there before it fills up. And also go check out the great, amazing content on there that for one, we have Marie's book on there, some of her art, as well as the previous shows and stuff like that, the link to get to our show. So anyways, y'all keep doing amazing things out there. We'll see y'all in the next one. Don't let the day kick your ass. We'll see y'all.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.